Be the right club. Be the right club today.
Johnny, that's better than most.
How about in?
That is better than most. Better than most.
Expect anything different?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is officially happy hour here on the No Laying Up live show, presented as always by our friends at High Noon. Sorry we're a little bit late getting started here. We are battling some technology today. Coming to us live from New York with his microphone not working, Mr. Neil Schuster. Hello, Neil.
Sometimes the system just doesn't work. You go through the checklist and it just doesn't work, but we're doing it live. God, I needed a high nooner. It's been a long one today, Solly.
You're telling me, brother. You are telling me. Calling in live from the actual Solheim Cup in his hotel room with a struggling Wi-Fi and without a tripod, Mr. Big Randy. Hello, Mr. Big.
We have a tripod. We just have no means to put the camera on the tripod, which is tough. I apologize for any tech issues, but I'm so happy to be out here in Virginia. I'm in my hotel room. I wanted to give people a gorgeous view into the courtyard behind me, and I'm ready to talk some golf with you, gentlemen.
Nice framing, Big. You did a great job framing it in about 30 seconds. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Neil.
Cody is running the ones and twos from a lounge at an airport. Pet's heads are falling off. This has been a challenge, but we are live. We are ready to talk Solheim Cup. We are nearing the end of the the professional golf season. Speaking of ends, the End Zone Pack, the High Noon End Zone Pack is here along with your favorite fall flavors, pear and cranberry, along with year-round classics, grapefruit and black cherry. Whether you are tailgating in the lot or playing some golf, get out and enjoy the crisp fall air with even crisper drinks. Gosh, a High Noon by the river out there at the Solheim Cup sounds like a delightful way to spend a fall afternoon. The High Noon Enzo Pack is here, but for a limited time only. So get it while you can. Visit highnoonspirits.com to find it near you. High Noon, sun's up. Big, you've been out there. You've been on the grounds. The opening ceremonies are going on right now as we get launched. We're going to have pairings here. That's why we delayed the show. We have an embargo on the pairings, and we didn't want to get going before that started. But what are your first impressions of RTJ and your experience out at the Solheim Cup so far?
Yeah, RTJ looks fantastic, guys. I had never been out here on property before. I am staying kind of close to the Dulles Airport. So this morning when I drove over, it took me no traffic, I can report. It was about a 20-minute drive, and the first thing that just strikes you, it is bucolic out there. It is, you kind of feel like you've definitely left the city center. It's very green, lots of trees. The course just looks like it's in fantastic condition, and we have 8 holes that are going to kind of run along a big lake that's going to be in play. And I really, truly think, I hope the course is going to pop on television. You look around the trees, the leaves, just hints of fall, hints of change of color starting to peek in there. And, early impressions of the golf course itself, I think it's a bigger ballpark. Both captains have talked about distance perhaps being at a premium. I think it's more of a off the tee approach shot type course. The greens, the average green size, Solly, I was hoping you could tell me this. I have a fact sheet here, but I don't know how to, I don't know if these are how big these greens are.
You don't speak square feet? I don't really either, man.
So what's 6,000 square foot average size of the greens? That's what we're working here this week. So I think they're pretty big. They seem to have kind of some quadrants in them where they can put the pins. And I think listening to some of the ladies, if you're on the wrong part of the green, you're going to have some very difficult putts up over ridges that are going to be moving a lot. But for the ball strikers and the good iron play, if you can kind of get it close to the pin, shouldn't be too much of a problem around the green. So I'm excited. I have a clip. I better than I could ever explain it. I think we have a clip here of 2 of the Euro team members, Maya Stark and Lynn Grant, talking about this golf course.
Len and Maya, can you two compare Finca Cortesin to this course and what parts of your game might get tested more here versus there?
This is easier to walk, so that's great. I think this is a little bit softer into the greens. It feels like it's playing a little bit shorter than Finca. We've only played the front 9 so far, so maybe that's why. You get some really long bunker shots here. There's a lot of bunkers on the back 9, which are very strategically placed. So that's something that we didn't really have to worry about last time, I think.
I think this week too, like just playing yesterday and today, like Maya said, the course is playing quite soft, but the conditions of the place is so nice. So like you get at least I get a really nice feeling when you're playing. Like you feel like you could actually play very well here. And I think for the production and for the matches and everything, I think it's going to be like a really good week for everyone. There's going to be a lot of birdies, and like at the end of the day, like we just want to go out and play really good golf, and I think that's very possible here. Finca was a little bit more, like this is more target golf than Finca was, to me at least.
Big, I'm hearing a lot of stuff I like. I'm not going to lie. And I wasn't there. You guys were out there in Spain. And like, it just didn't seem like a good Solheim Cup course for a lot of reasons. Like resort.
It was a tough walk.
No connectivity of the whole, just the lack of vibe. Like this place was literally like almost semi-built like for President's Cups, and to be able to host major team events like this. And exactly what she's talking about there, set up, you can play the course well, sets up for exciting match play. It just seems like this is a really good team golf venue.
I think that's exactly right. Robert Trent Jones hosted the first 4 President's Cups on U.S. soil, so they're very accustomed to hosting this type of event. Solly, to your point, like the routing, it's going to be much easier to navigate both for players and for fans, crucially. The build-out looks great. I had a chance to kind of walk around the first tee and the ceremony area. So this is the first tee for the folks watching. You have a nice build out. It's not Ryder Cup big, but I think a lot of things with the Solheim Cup, like it just works well at the scale that they have it. So this is kind of looking back at the first tee. So there'll be all this grandstand seating is open to the public, first come, first serve. And then the upper deck of what we're looking at right now is a hospitality pavilion. So that's going to be raucous. From the top of those bleachers, you can kind of turn around and there's like a little fan village area where the main ceremony stage is going to take place. There's a lot of concessions. Here we're looking at where currently the opening ceremony is taking place. I'll also note we're going to be doing our live shows the next couple of days from that stage. Here's the clubhouse of Robert Trent Jones.
Jesus.
So looking back up at, it's just like very regal, very
bucolic.
It fits well. Yeah, it fits well in Virginia. Like I'm getting Thomas Jefferson vibes.
Yeah, Cody, this is TC's house. This is the wrong picture here. Yeah.
Yeah. This is TC's estate. His country
But Sully,
estate.
I think what's exciting is you're exactly right. I think this is going to prove to be a great venue. The weather could not be better. Literally not a drop of rain in the forecast the next 3 days through Sunday. We're going to have temperatures in the low 80s for a high and then dropping down into the upper 50s at night. So no surprise. I think they've probably put some water on the course. The press conference we listened to was from Tuesday. I expect they'll kind of speed it up, firm it up a little bit as we get into play here these next couple days. But I think it'll probably be set up where a lot of excitement, a lot of birdies, and hopefully that'll produce fireworks and a lot of cheering around the course.
Well, look, there's a lot of, we also recorded a preview podcast episode for the Solheim Cup, came out on Monday. You guys can check that out as well. We're going live here. We're going to be kind of reacting to some pairings. There's going to be some overarching kind of questions about the event and some players on Team USA and for Team Europe I'm going to ask you about, Big, but the pairings are in the process of coming out right now, and I believe the embargo has been lifted as well. Anyway,
we are clear.
Match 1. We're pegging you for your reaction to this, Brady. Charlie Hall and Esther Hinslet are going to be going up against Nelly Korda and Allison Corpuz, 7:05 foursomes. We are going alt shot in the morning, first match out. What's your reaction to this match?
Yeah, so I think this is first of all, let's start with Nelly Korda and Allison Corpuz. They were a great pairing last year in Spain in foursomes alt shot. So they went 2-0 last year. No surprise that they're back together as a pairing. No surprise that they're out first. Nelly, obviously world number 1. I think that's a statement pairing from Stacey Lewis. Interestingly, on the Euro side, Charlie Hall, Captain Pedersen in her press conference said specifically, I just want to get Charlie out there. She doesn't want to wait too long, notoriously kind of antsy and fidgety. So she's going out in that first match. And I do think it's interesting putting her with the rookie, Esther Hensleit, who's been playing awesome golf. But, this format, first tee, first group, it's a lot of pressure on her. So I think my initial reaction is definitely advantage Team USA in this first match.
Career records, Charlie Hall's 12-7-3. Obviously, Esther Hensleit is a rookie, and we have Nelly Corda is 7-4-1, and Allison Corpuz 2-1-1. Going off in that early morning tee time. What's the kind of strategy going foursomes first? Do you think? We analyzed that really deeply on the Ryder Cup side. What do you think of this for the Solheim Cup side?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that's a relatively newer switch for the Solheim. I think they used to start maybe foursomes, and then definitely last year they had alt shot in the morning. I forget Toledo. So historically, it's been a format that's favored Team Europe, and last year the U.S. won all 4 Friday morning alt shot matches and got out to a 4-0 lead. And if you listen to Stacey Lewis, of course, our good friend Justin Ray helping with the stats, I think this format specifically, the U.S. really leans into the stats and whose games can they pair together to really make the best pairing possible. And so I think it's probably to the U.S.'s advantage just because I think they lean into the numbers a lot more than Captain Pedersen and the European squad, who's much more just eye test and trust your gut. I think it's to the U.S.'s advantage that this is the first format. If the U.S. can get another early lead, I think that's a good thing for them.
All right, Randy, match 2, 7:17 a.m. We have Celine Boutier and I believe it's Alban Valenzuela. Did I pronounce that properly?
Neil, incredible job. Alban.
I mean, that was such a trap. That was a trap, and I didn't fall into it. It's not Albane, it's Alban, even though it sounds like it should be Albane. And then going up against Rose Zhang and Lauren Coughlin. God, do I love that pairing. And then you got the Stanford versus Stanford with Alban and Rose, I believe.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Before that, just how do you pronounce the fullback for the 49ers? How is his last name pronounced?
It's Juszczyk. It's Juszczyk. Yes, Jusic. I say Jusic. You can say Juszczyk. It's really pick.
It's not either of those though.
Isn't there no hard J?
It's
Isn't
Jusic.
there like no J sound?
No, he says Juszczyk. Like he sounds it out in like his profiles. It's Juszczyk.
It's interesting because literally every announcer calls him Jusic, but
it's as I understand it, the J is a hard J.
I had to get that in there. Maybe we should talk Solheim Cup, but I had to get that in there. It just cracks me up.
I mean, listen, I feel like Randy. I feel like Rose played okay last year. Didn't really live up to the hype, but I feel like this is a fun pairing here. For the U.S. For us, sure. I mean, maybe a home game, or right. Maybe I'm being a homer, but this gets me excited.
No, I mean Rose stunk at the Solheim. Like her rookie season was pretty good. I don't know which one you're specifically referring to, but
I was referring to the Solheim, and I remember her like not getting off the bus, basically.
Yeah, you were trying to be nice. Rose stunk, and I think she's honestly one of the keys. Solly, we can get into what I think are some of the big keys after we go through the matches, but I think this is super interesting because, like you said, Neil, Rose has a lot to prove this year in this format. She's paired with LC, who's obviously a rookie, but I don't know. They're both like very nice, easygoing personalities. I like the blend of what they bring that way. On the Euro side, I think Alban is. We've been trying to figure out some stuff about her. She's Swiss, but I think she's kind of like more French Swiss. Like Swiss people can go. They're either Italian, German, French. Alban's very much on the French side of the Swiss scale, and so pairing her with Celine makes a lot of sense. Celine's somebody that quite honestly didn't get off the bus last year either.
She was like forgotten. Like she did not show up at all last year.
Yeah, I know. So this is, gosh, on paper you look at Rose and Lauren and the world rankings and you think they probably should be the favorites, but I feel like this is a toss-up. It's going to be like who can calm the nerves, who can settle into the match. probably comes out with the point here. This one's fascinating to me.
Gosh, I cannot wait to watch this tomorrow morning. It's gonna be fantastic. Got Lauren and Rose in alt shot. They may not be putting outside 10 feet the entire day.
Yeah.
Like that's such a dynamic pairing. This is gonna be. I love this freaking event. I really wish I was there. Yeah, baby watches got me stuck here for quite some time. But that is fantastic one. Match 3. We so real quick career records in this match. Valenzuela and Lauren Coughlin, of course, are rookies. Celine Boudier 5-4-1, and Rose went 0-2-1 in last year's Solheim Cup, which of course is a great example of why you should play the Ryder Cup every year. Having back-to-back years of Solheim Cup is the memories are fresh. Like it's very, very good.
Yeah.
Match 3, Maya Stark and Emily Christine Peterson against Allie Ewing and Jennifer Kupcho on the American side. Randy?
Yeah, so I think the surprise from the Team Europe perspective was putting Emily Peterson in foursomes. She's can be a very streaky player. She's quite honestly like not on the greatest form, but she's a competitor. She's great personality, great in the team room. Suzanne loves her, so like that's why she's on the team. And honestly, she answered the bell last year in Spain and played above her form and kind of what we would expect of her. I didn't know if they would pair Lynn and Maya again in foursomes, and obviously they've split them up as we'll see in the next one. I just worry with Emily can be kind of erratic. Now she does hit the ball a long way. I think this is very much a pairing of like I'd be surprised if Emily wasn't kind of hitting the tee shots on most of the par fives. Maya, when she's on, very good approach play. Putters can kind of be a little shaky for both of them. So I don't know. I think this matchup favors Team USA. They're going up. Team USA is sending Allie Ewing and Jennifer Kupcho out, 2 women that have a lot of Solheim experience, although not like the greatest records. But I feel like Allie Ewing's a bulldog. Like she's played in so many of these. She's the one that got run down by Headwall last year on Sunday in singles.
Got run over, I think.
Run over.
She got Mike Allstotted by Headwall last year.
She was in the A gap and the Headwall just plowed through. This is I mean, they're all interesting matches, but this is kind of interesting. I think the surprise is you're not sending a Leona Maguire out. In foursomes, even a Georgia Hall. I think 2 players that, hey, if Emily doesn't play well, that's going to be pretty easy to second guess, but I'm kind of first guessing it a little bit.
That's gosh, it seems like a long time ago, but it really wasn't that long ago that Leona Maguire was like the one in Inverness. Like we wouldn't dream of sitting here for a single session. I was looking up Leona's career record. What did she do? I don't remember exactly what she did the last go around.
Yeah, she went 3-1-1 last year. So she's gone 7-3-1 in 2 Solheims. I believe playing all 5 sessions in both, obviously 10 matches across 2. So this will be the first session she's ever sat. And Leona's not in the best form. So, like, you can defend it a little bit.
Yeah.
And Leona's been playing 5 sessions takes it out of you by Sunday. So maybe it's like, hey, let's let her rest Friday morning. And then I would assume she's going to play the remaining 4 sessions.
What's the venue like in terms of people going 5 matches? Is it like is the up and down nature of the golf course a factor? Is it a tough walk? Just reading old President's Cup stuff, it seemed like the maybe because they had like 49-year-old guys playing in that original one, but some of those guys were complaining about the walk and hard to play 5 matches.
There is some like up and down. It's like a rolling piece of property. It's not huge ups and huge downs though. I think. Well, Stacy alluded to she doesn't expect any of her players to play all 5 sessions. And I think with Leona sitting, the only ones that I would really see playing all 5, like if Charlie plays really well tomorrow, I could see her maybe getting pushed all 5. And then you look at the 2 young Swedes, Lynn and Maya, I think are your other possibilities to go all 5. But I wouldn't expect it on the U.S. side.
Take us to match 4, Neil.
Match 4, 7:41 a.m. We have Lynn Grant and the hero of last year, Carlota Ciganda, versus Lilia Vu and Sarah Snelzel.
Solly set
Schnelzel.
you up. That was not nice of Solly to set you up for this.
And
last
Neil,
one.
you should have
Listen, the
called him
graphic-
because both Solly and Randy mispronounced Emily Pedersen. It's Pedersen. There's no T in it. D.
I'm just gonna say that the graphics a little small on my screen. Schnelzel. Is that? I feel like I'm Schnelzel. I got it. Okay, we got
Schmelzel.
there
You
eventually.
still are not doing it. Schmelzel. There's no N in there.
There's an early M.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
M.
there's an M. See, I can't even see the M. I think it's a Pam situation here. You know,
Yeah, of
Step
course.
Brothers situation.
Of
Schmelzel.
course.
Got it. All right. I mean, they're kind of going with history here. Lynn Grant's an absolute Terminator, Randy, based on last year.
Yeah.
And then but Carlotta's a little bit like, are we going on resume? You know, like she balled out home game for her last year. Got to feel pretty good about Lilia, but I don't know much about Sarah clearly. So please, you take over for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the best matchup potentially, the best match. Lynn and Carlotta were really good in 4 balls last year. They did not play 4 sums. But Lynn, Neil, I'm like you. I think this could be a Lynn Grant coming out party. She's got a year experience under her belt. She played well last year in Spain. She comes in on good form. I look for her to do big things. Carlotta, she's going to slow the tempo down. She's going to slow the pace down. We don't know how much that will affect Lilia specifically, who likes to play quicker. Sarah's a wild card. I think she's very good tee to green, but you never know. First match, first Solheim Cup. She's a wild card, and she does have a good security blanket. I think Lilia Vu, she's healthy. Although she went 1-3 last year, I thought she played better than that 1-3 record. She was in some tough matches that just didn't go the US's way. So I think, you could be looking at a scenario where Team US is 3-0 in those first 3 matches. Like this could be like the firewall for Team Europe. I think there could be some pressure here on Lynn and Carlotta just to try to get a point out of this morning session. I'm not saying that's necessarily going to happen, but I could see that scenario.
Definitely.
Some dogs out there. You got any thought on that, Neil?
A lot of dogs, a lot of talk of dogs these days. Eating dogs, walking dogs, and seeing dogs. Subtle dogs. Yes, we're talking Roback, and there's a reason we talk about it so much. The depth of the offering is ridiculous. Normally, I go on and on about the performance T-shirts. I'm wearing one. I'm wearing a long sleeve right now, and the hoodies, but not today. I got a new one for you. Roback just came out with the Sprint Performance Joggers, and these are kind of the everyday sweatpants that I'm going to be living in as we get into the fall.
I haven't seen these.
Weather's cooling off. They're fantastic. I got the navy ones. I need to get a pair of the heather ones. I can already see the eye roll from Carson because I'm going to be wearing the same sweatpants for the next 3 months because they're so comfortable. It's work from home stuff, run errands. You can go for a jog, watch TV. Doesn't matter. You should get a pair of the Sprint Performance Joggers. And Cody, I'm curious. Aren't you wandering around this week dishing out prizes for seeing subtle dog logos up at the Solheim Cup? Is that what I heard?
That is correct. Be on the hunt.
All right. So if you're planning to go off the Solheim Cup, wear some Roback gear. Maybe you see Cody. Maybe you get some for it. Who knows? It'll
Listen,
be
don't hunt me down for this. I'll find you. Okay.
Fair enough.
People. Yeah.
I would say also don't forget Roback now has officially licensed college gear just in time for college football season. You can go to the game day collection. It's linked on their menu. They got some sweet college hoodies, like all the top schools. God, what a good job they've done with the licensing stuff. So don't forget, use code NLU at roback.com for a generous 20% off your first order through the end of this week. That's RORHOBACK.com. 20% off bottoms, Q-zips, hoodies, and more. And the Sprint joggers at roback.com. Code NLU. All right, I'm out, Solly.
Well done, Neil. Thank you so much. I need a pair of those joggers. I didn't know
they're sweet.
They had new ones. That's fantastic. All right, Randy. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since the United States has won this event. It's been 3 straight. We had a win, and a retained in Europe last year, not retained in the USA. Neil, what can we expect on this? I think we have a video clip talking a little bit about this, trying to break this winless streak going back to 2017.
you're
Yeah,
kind of alluding
here it
to,
is.
both you and your four Solheim haven't seen a win yet. What's the pressure like this week to end that streak now?
We got some unfinished business. That's kind of been the
Oh,
motto
yeah.
of the team this year is unfinished business. And, you know, some people have asked me what one word would be to describe Team USA this year, and I'm just going to say hungry because, you know, Nelly and I obviously being on, you know, the same amount of Solheim Cups and not necessarily getting the job done last year, you know, it kind of leaves like not necessarily best taste in your mouth, but you know, luckily we didn't have to wait 2 years. We have this year to kind of get back at it, and I can tell you now we're more hungry than ever.
God. Proverbial stew sink situation. I love that. We got hungry.
Yeah.
We got dogs. They're hungry. Hell yes. Shout out to
Unfinished
Stu.
business. Yeah.
I don't know. Like unfinished business, it's almost like it's more than that. I mean, you haven't wanted unfinished business kind of works for like when you haven't like for the U.S. Men's Ryder Cup team that hasn't gone over to Europe, like can't go do that one, right? When you haven't
Like
won 3 in a row,
a deal. Like we did a deal. We've had success, but we just can't get this other piece of the deal done. It's like you haven't done any of it. You haven't won any business yet. So I agree with you there, Solly. That's they're giving him too much credit.
So a couple little facts to just back that up. Saul, you said that the last time the U.S. won the Solheim Cup was 2017. That was 3 playings ago. And Team Europe, if you go back a little further, Team Europe has won or retained the cup in 5 out of the last 7 Solheims. And in fact, there's only 2 women on the U.S. team, Lexi Thompson and Allison Lee, who was a rookie on the team in 2015 and who hasn't made a Solheim Cup since 2015. They're the only 2 women that have ever been on a winning Solheim Cup team, which is kind of crazy. So I do think that 14-14 result last year was like not a bad result for Team USA, right? Going into Spain, and you know, it's nothing to like be ashamed of. I do think it felt though more like a loss for Team USA because they had jumped out 4-0 after the end of the first session, and then Europe kind of spent the rest of the Solheim Cup clawing their way back into it. But yeah, Solly, I think we start right there. Big questions of the week. Can the USA stop the streak? And we were kind of joking, talking about in the preview episode, like if they don't, maybe it's task force season. I think it's at least worth like a discussion of why does the U.S. come in every event? They have the higher average world ranking or the better average world ranking. They're better individually on paper every year. And yet, if they don't win this week, they'll have lost 6 of the last 8. I think it's worth a wide discussion.
Just a broken, you know, I know it's not the same golf, you know, there's not like a golf school here where all of these, you know, players come from and there's not like a culture that transfers over from the men's to the women's side, but gosh, that's just a familiar feeling. Exactly what you're saying here. Like, wait, we have all these talented players. Why can't they win this more often? I can't quite tell for this Team US side. I know with Justin Ray being involved in the stats side, like there still is just that kind of disconnect on the women's side of like not having like shot link data on all of the details of, you know, of all these shots, like how, you know, I'm sure they would smack me in the face as the data guy. They would say like, wake up, you're supposed to be the data guy here. But like, I don't know how like technical you can get with all this stuff in terms of, you know, the almost like the qualitative aspect of forming this team is where I wonder if how they've thought of that, how they've approached that more so than I have the quantitative side.
You know who doesn't care at all about data? Suzanne Pedersen. And she seems to be able to put this team together and make them run through whatever brick wall that's in front of them. Like, not even in their scenarios, team building at all.
She's among the biggest alphas on the planet.
Correct. Oh, for sure. Foremost alphas on the planet. Absolutely. But I will say, everybody speaks glowingly of Stacey Lewis, and I think they are all very motivated and want to do well for her. I think it comes down to like Solly. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of the same thing on the Ryder Cup side. Like the best American players just like need to play,
just play golf
better. Yeah. And if you look at last year in Spain, I mean, the 3 highest ranked Americans, you have Nelly Corda, number 1, Lilia Vu, number 2, Rose Zhang, currently number 9 in the world. Last year in Spain, those three combined to go 3-7-1. And so when you talk about like your three best players who are going to be playing a lot of sessions, for them not to like win that many points and for them to put that record on the board, like I think you start right there, and it's probably on the best players to play better.
The highest ranking person on the European team last year, Solheim Boutier, didn't pick up a single point. They got it from the back end.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, remember when Scotty Scheffler and Brooks Koepka lost 9-7 in a Ryder Cup match, and everyone was just like, "Yeah, it's just a Ryder Cup." It's like, no, something might be really wrong here, guys. Like,
yeah. I don't know. I don't know if there's just more of a team feeling amongst the European side than there is the American side. I don't know, but there's something there because it's kind of the same themes on both the men's and women's side, and I think it's at least it's like we all see it. There has to be something there that is just like I don't know, even if we can't put our finger on it.
That could be Sunday's show.
Yeah, the other like key stat, and Cody kind of alluded to it. You know, the points were coming from the end of the team, if you will. So there are three new faces on this American team: Lauren Coughlin, Sarah Schmelzel, and Allison Lee. They are replacing Danielle Kang, Angel Yin, and Cheyenne Knight. And I'll just say that those three women that they're replacing, they got 6.5 points last year in Spain. And so if you're Nelly, if you're Lilia, if you're Rose don't play well, it's going to be a lot of pressure on LC and Sarah and Allison Lee and the rest of kind of that bottom of the I hate saying bottom of the team, but deeper down the roster, like who's going to go out and get points. So definitely something to keep an eye on.
They need a horse. They need someone that's just like they need somebody to go win four matches, right? I mean, it just seems like they just always they lack having that one player that just has the career week. The most Lexi went 3-1. Megan Kang went 3-0-1 in Spain. Like she's been the closest. She was the closest thing to a killer. I mean, that's killing out there. She lost no matches out of 4 last year.
Yeah. And I think Megan Kang, you look at her, I think she could be that role. I also, I don't know, I really expect, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Lilia flips her 1-3 to 3-1 this year. Like, to me, she feels like that type of person. And I'm really anxious to see her this year coming off like not a great record last year, because I know that's got to eat her up.
On the European side, two highest ranked players, Solheim Boutier are 10th, Charlie Hull is 12th. Those two went a combined 1-5 last year in Spain. And they still got a tie out of it. Essentially, be able to retain it. Do you think we're going to see something maybe a little stronger out of Charlie this year?
I think we have to. I think if Europe's going to win, Charlie's got to show up. I want to play this clip from Captain Pedersen talking about Charlie. This was a great one earlier this week.
Move this a little bit lower. I did move it lower.
Oh, Cody, this might be the wrong one.
Cody's on mute as well. We do not
Give me 2 seconds.
Okay, he's looking for 2 seconds for the clip.
We'll vamp. Yeah, I think I just don't. I think last year Team Europe got, they pulled a rabbit out of the hat with Celine and Charlie going 1-5 combined, and Headwall doing her Sunday magic, and Carlotta playing great in front of the hometown crowd. Like I just
Headwall didn't play otherwise, right, Randy?
Well, she played. So Solheim rules, you have to play a session before Sunday singles. So they stuck her out there Saturday afternoon, and she lost. And so it was like, holy shit, what are we doing? I think Cody's got the clip. Cody, are we ready for the Charlie Hall clip?
I wanted to ask you about Charlie as the highest ranked player on Team Europe. What do you want to see from her this week? And the follow-up would be, do you get the sense that she's comfortable with her celebrity status online and social media, Instagram, 600,000 followers, that kind of deal?
Celebrity status? That's a new one. We're just happy Charlie's already showed up. No. Charlie's on fine form. She's flying high, doing her own thing. I actually think she's in a great spirit. She loves the Solheim a lot. And thankfully, we only have one of her on our team. Because imagine having 12 of her. That would be kind of a handful. But we've learned to deal. I mean, I know Charlie fairly well over the years. I've played a lot with her. I really enjoyed being paired with her. So I feel like I've seen every side of her, kind of from a playing and kind of trying to be a captain. So I'm really happy to have Charlie here, and she's been excited over the last month or so, and she's been trying to prepare the best she can to come here, coming out on her best side.
So I'll just add with Charlie, Solly or Neil, one of you mentioned her record 12-7-3 lifetime. She was 1-2 last year. So going into Spain last year, she was carrying an 11-5-3 career record. Like last year's performance in Spain was definitely the aberration for Charlie. And so I really expect her to play well. I'm glad, like I said, going out in that first match, she doesn't have to wait around. She can just get right out on the course. I think the Solheim Cup's better. Obviously, women's golf is great when Charlie's playing well. So I really hope she does play well this weekend.
I'm sure the most important story of the week, of course, as it relates to Charlie Hall, is of course she borrowed a lighter from a fan while she's out there smoking. Very cool, guys. Just so Twitter loves it every single time, and it's very, very cool. I love it. So.
Yeah. Real quick, my other two things we touched on Leona. That was one of my big questions for Team Europe. Leona going 7-3-1 and really has been the difference in her two Solheim Cups. They won it in Toledo. It was very close. Obviously tied it last year. Do they need Leona to keep getting them 3.5, 4 points a Solheim Cup? That's just a huge ask, and I'm not sure if Leona can do it a third time. We'll see. And then the other thing, though, I'm very bullish on Lindgren and Maya Stark. We were very excited last year. They were making their Solheim Cup debut. They actually went out first in foursomes together. They both played pretty well. They have a year of experience. I love the form Lynn is in coming into this week. And I just think those two I think they really have a chance to shine, and they're going to be stalwarts of this team for years and years to come. So I do think Team Euro, like Lindgren and Maya, got to start carrying the load.
Well, let's do it now. Let's get our official FanDuel picks of the week. And, of course, odds will be subject to change as the week goes along here. But, Randy, going to you first. Put your money where your mouth is. What is your official play of the week?
My play of the week is, and I've just finished touting her, Lindgren for top European point scorer. I think she has a chance to play all 5 sessions. She's going to play at least 4. She finished tied for 10th at the Open after not a great first round. I just love the way she hits the ball. You heard earlier in the show, she likes Robert Trent Jones. At plus 470, I love the odds.
Neil, what's your pick?
I just decided to make it a little bit more efficient. I'm going with the U.S. to win at 15.5 over Europe at 12.5. We're going with an exact score play, plus 1,200. I think the U.S. gets it done this year. I think they finish their business. They put Stu Cink to bed.
I'm looking at this now, and I'm seeing the U.S. on FanDuel is minus 210 to win, which is, that's a big favorite. But in a format they did really, really well on, last year, getting off to the hot start. They're plus 100 tomorrow for first day. That's their line for tomorrow. And I think if there is a path to win, I think they get off the bus quickly and go take care of business. So I think US plus 100 day one winner. That does include the draw odds in there. If they split, then that's a loss in there. But I like getting even money on the US to be up by the end of day one, more so than I do like laying 210 to get 100 back on them winning for the week. So if they do go on to win, I'd be surprised if they were down after day one.
Nice job, really circling there. That was nice handwriting.
You like that?
Just to make sure we know, what you're doing here.
That's my play.
So. I do think it's interesting, Solly. We didn't touch about on the pairings when we were going through the matches. Stacy is sitting Megan Kang and Lexi, who went 2-0 last year in alt shot, and I just think that's curious. She was asked about it in her press conference, and she really just said some of it's, we feel like we have a great team and great pairings, and some of it's course fit. So I do think that's something. If your bet doesn't hit, if the U.S. doesn't win day one. I think where Stacy could perhaps be second guessed is like, hey, why didn't we play that pairing that was like so good last year together?
It's all big puzzle, man. This is the hard part where you got to sit. You don't have all the information, and you don't know exactly like, all right, well, if I slot this team in foursomes, that means this team has to go out and four ball, and this person has to play blah blah blah. And look, captains get a lot of this wrong a lot of the time, but it is like this macro thing of how does it all fit into the puzzle, and if everybody's going to sit one session, how do you manage it and managing energy? Maybe you want people peaking on Saturday instead of Friday if they're going to play 36 holes. It's really, really, really tricky. No one's really seemed to completely get it figured out except for
Solly. One thing I want to say before we move off is I've been really big time team. The Ryder Cup, Solheim Cup should not be every year, but it is kind of nice to have it.
Oh, here he comes!
It just adds it as an outlier. I'm enjoying having the context of last year, and
the memories are fresh. Like it's just
I mean, that's a nice thing. Now it doesn't mean I want that, but I'm acknowledging that the other side has a good argument on this point. So just wanted to get that out there. I feel better. I'm going to sleep better tonight for coming clean on that.
Play the Masters every other year too, if that's the best way to space out golf tournaments. Sure, let's play the Open every other year, or just play it every year. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Ohio State, Michigan every other year. Let's just do it. Why play it every year? I mean, it's better if you got to wait an extra year. Come on, guys. Love the President's Cup. Anything to this like driving range controversy that's been going on this week? I tried to read about this, and I still don't understand what the controversy is.
Can you outline it for me? That's what I was going to ask. I was unprepared on this topic. What saw the headline, didn't really dig in.
All right, let me preface this by saying I intentionally did not bring it up when I was on the grounds because I wanted to know like if people were talking about, right? Like I didn't want to drive the conversation, and I can report I didn't hear one single person talking about this driving range controversy. So I don't know if it's a controversy or not. Jamie Weir had a report this morning that that they have these two houses on the course, and the U.S. chose their house, and it's a little bigger, I guess. And so Europe has the other house. Now, the other house, though, has these bays that you can lift up, and they go right onto the driving range. And apparently there was something in a contract, like you weren't supposed to put tables, like you weren't supposed to like move your team room or any part of the house like outside onto like the edge of the driving range. And it looked like Europe had in fact moved some tables out there.
Mind
games.
The
doors open. And then so I'm not sure like who was supposed to be upset about that or who was anyway. That's Neil.
Is the idea that they're practicing? They're getting extra practice in, like it's an unfair advange, or
no? I think the idea is just kind of like
they're playing music out the house, and like they were spilling over onto the range. It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
You know what this is, Randy? You just don't do that. Like you just don't. Like everybody knows that's wrong. We have a Brookline situation here pretty quickly.
I don't know. Suzanne, the alpha, she doesn't care. She's like, oh, it said what in the contract? Double middle fingers.
What are you guys gonna? What are you gonna cancel the event? Like, what are the repercussions here? Like, I almost hope that the U.S. is really pissed off because, like, I love mind games. I hope everybody's doing mind games this week. But it's hard to think of this as like an actual controversy. I don't think that's the right word for it.
Neil gave his 15.5 to 12.5. What's your official score prediction, Big?
So I'm actually with Neil. I think U.S. 15.5, 12.5. My heart lies, of course, with Team Europe. I hope Tron is listening and hears that, but my head says Team USA.
I believe it's 15.5, 13.5. Am I right?
It is not.
It's not.
But,
okay.
Just like it's not juicy.
You just saw it during the FanDuel.
Oh yeah, there it is. All right. So now I get when I have to balance the checkbook, I get confused. You're right. No, hand up on that one, but it is juice check. I know that.
Judy Rankin going to be in the booth this week.
Hold on, Sully, did we get your official pick?
Oh, I'm sorry. 14.5, 13.5 is what my official pick was. U.S. United States. U.S. is going to do it. They're going to win it. Judy Rankin going to be in the booth this week, which is always a treat. She is low-key the best. Not even low-key. She's the best female announcer in the game.
I think that's fantastic. I assume that's because Morgan is an assistant captain. So I think that works out great for everybody. Judy's fabulous. I just hope that they don't overload it with commercials, but spoiler, I bet they are.
Oh,
Don't yell
yeah,
at
yeah.
us when the coverage sucks, because we've been banging that drum for years.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think that needed to be discussed. I think we know exactly what's coming. I mean, every single team event goes exactly the same way. So, all right. Anything else on Solheim before we get over a couple other news and notes before we get into the weekend, the long weekend?
No, I would just say if you're in the area, if you're in the greater Washington area, or if you're within a drive, the weather is going to be fantastic. If you're in need of tickets, you can find those on the LPGA website. Come on out. I think it's going to be a really, really great 3 days of golf.
The vibe looks fantastic. Opening ceremonies look, I mean, they're just a buzz. Like, it just seems like the right market, the right venue, the right, like, just overall. That's something that the U.S. side has nailed on pretty much every Solheim Cup, is just like getting this into the right market and getting people out there and a real buzz on the ground. It's definitely shining through on the television so far. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. In the words of Morgan Presley, you guys got me fucking fired up to watch this. So on the men's side, John Rahm announced he'll be has entered the Spanish Open, the Andalusia Masters, and the Dunhill. But he has not paid his fines to the DP World Tour for breaking their rules and regulations. He said, I don't intend to pay the fines, and we keep trying to have a discussion with them about how we can make this happen. But he has appealed it and will be able to play despite not having paid the fines. Just can't afford the fines. And, I guess wants to support the DP World Tour, but does not support the rules and regulations of the DP World Tour. So it's
do you know what the fines are?
I think
$1 million, I think.
Well, I think it's $100K for every unsanctioned event that he hasn't played. So it'd be like basically once he's finished with the live season, 1.4 million pounds or euro. I don't know exactly, something around that.
Yeah.
That number, which like one just got literally hundreds of millions of dollars from live to go play on this tour, and two would have been like line 2 of the contract I would have signed, which would have been like, hey, I still want to play DP World Tour events. Like, hey, Yasser, like, I need you to stroke the check for all of my fines. And then, like, you are supporting the tour, abiding by their rules and regulations. This did not sneak up on you. You knew exactly what the policy of the DP World Tour was going to be. I know you thought that you leaving was going to cause, everything to cascade and everything was going to come together and you wouldn't have this issue. Like, put that in the contract before you jump over to live. And this would have all been avoided. But no, just refusing to pay the fines is just like, Rahm has played this.
But he's saying, sanction me with your armies.
Yes. Like, or he's just appealing. I don't understand the full problem. Like, they went to court over this. Like, they went to court over the European Tour's ability to appeal, like, uphold their rules and regulations and find people that did not abide by the rules. And he's still just like, no, I'm just appealing. I don't know how long the appeal lasts, but I guess that it gives him enough time to get into enough events and then just not worry about having to pay the money. So
I think that quote's so awesome. I don't intend to pay the fines. And we keep trying to have a discussion with them about how we can make this happen, assuming, like, how can I play like, dude, like, what is the discussion besides, like, hey, DP World Tour, what can I do? Pay the fine. No, I'm not going to do that. Like, what's the discussion then? I don't understand what's the discussion.
I think, did even Sergio pay his fines? Like, it's just like, I don't know, man.
So sick.
Rahm's played this relatively, like, not like a fuckboy. And this one's just like, dude, just pay the money. Like, this is literally nothing to you now. Like, that's the whole point of you leaving.
I know, that's kind of the point, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's just frustrating, man. I just hate seeing him get sucked into this wine fest. Anyways, if you haven't, the Irish Open is on in the mornings here in the United States at Royal County Down. This is the first time it's been at a links course since 2019, when ironically John Rahm won at La Hinch. It's just awesome to see this event back at a links course. It's just phenomenal viewing in the morning. It's where it should be. I truly believe this event lost a ton of steam, at least in my personal interest, over the last 4 years when it's been at the K Club and Mount Juliet and Galgorn Castle and all these like places that are not worthy of hosting an event like this. And like having a Royal County Down is just awesome. It's just fantastic viewing, incredible golf course. Rory McIlroy there. He's paired with Tom McKibben and Vincent Norman. Watched a lot of his round today. Shane Lowry there. It's just make sure you set your DVR for that when you can fast forward the commercials. It's just like really, really, really good golf viewing. And it's good to have it back in our lives in a real way.
What was the weather out there, Solly?
Little breezy,
spicy.
Breezy, but not too crazy. There was a little bit of rain earlier in the week, but it was kind of just blowing in off that first tee today, and it's a really, really freaking special golf course. I don't have a better way of describing it other than it's a great way to spend your time just watching people play this course.
I'm told it's a good golf course. Yeah, I'm told.
I've heard good things.
The PGA Tour and the PIF met in New York on the eve of 9/11. Feels like something that probably could have been avoided in some way, but it got a ton of great PR around that one.
Just coincidence, though.
I believe
God, these guys are so freaking. Just bad at it. They're just bad at it.
Yeah, like it's almost like they're trying to run bad PR. Like I checked into the hotel, you flip on the TV, CNN comes on, and literally like the first thing I see is, Jake Tapper talking about the supposed PGA PIF meeting on the eve of 9/11. It's just like, God, what are we doing, guys?
In New York. In New York.
Yeah.
And again, I want to emphasize how incredibly fair all of that is when you used these exact people.
Yes, exactly. Like you're the ones that brought them into the conversation to start, and then it's like, oh, actually, no, we're not. That doesn't matter anymore. And then, it's mind blowing, truly mind blowing how bad they are at the PR stuff, and just thinking it through a little bit.
Like I don't know how Jay and. Like, how do they still have jobs? I don't understand.
It's remarkable. It's all just remarkable. Like, there's stuff happening. I don't know what it is exactly still yet. I don't know if anyone
knows. Been hearing that for 15 months, man.
It does seem like there's just a little bit more something happening now. I said, wake me up when you tell me what the competitive structure of pro golf is going to look like, because I just kind of don't care until we do that. So.
I will say the mood around the media center at Solheim was like, of course they're gonna break this big news Solheim weekend, right? Like just wait until it's like we want the spotlight on women's golf, and then they're gonna rip it away. So we'll see.
Some evening viewing is just kicking off right now. The Procore Championship, formerly, what was it? God, why can't I think of it? Fortnite. That's right. The Fortnite Championship up in Napa. I actually really liked watching this golf course. Firm bounces. It's kind of skinny little fairways, but light rough and just really interesting. It's been a somewhat interesting golf tournament over the years, and this is one of the highlights of the fall, actually, for me. A little week off does nobody any harm. It gets you a little bit more excited to watch a little bit of PGA Tour golf. Wyndham Clark playing this week. He had some interesting comments. He said that the last time I screwed up talking about his debut in international competition last fall in Rome, he said I took too much time off and wasn't quite prepared for the Ryder Cup, and this year I wanted to make sure I don't do that. There's no preparation better than playing against the best players. I think that's the best prep you can have. He said, through 4 holes, I said to Max, man, I'm sorry because I'm not not playing good the first 4 holes. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not in tournament shape right now. I'll get into it. Then eventually I started getting more comfortable, but I just found a few of those quotes interesting because not the entire U.S. team is not there from the President's Cup to play this week, but just some interesting reflection on how bad.
I appreciate quotes like that of like,
I did too.
Hand up, like I'm watching the film and like I didn't like my prep, and I'm going to tell you like. I'm here and I'm changing it. That's sweet from Wyndham. I'm all about that stuff.
Yes,
I think that's well said, Neil. I totally agree.
So, that is about going to wrap it for us here tonight. Other than we do have a very joyous announcement. We have a new welcome to the NLU family. DJ and his lovely wife Justine had a baby boy this morning. More details to come, of course, from them when they're ready to share them. But everybody's happy and healthy and doing well. And we are absolutely over the moon for them for welcoming their new baby boy to the family. Got a lot of boys, got a lot of dudes.
Guys being dudes, baby. Guys being dudes. I got Petey out here. Just it's the witching hour, baby. It's time to start that bath. Let's get it going. Welcome, Pie Man.
I'll take care of all the girls. I'm gonna have 2 of them here in a few months, but you guys just keep making the boys. We love it. It's gonna be fantastic. So, congrats to them. Thanks to High Noon. Thanks to Roback. Thanks to FanDuel. Big thanks for all of your fantastic on the ground reporting. Absolutely licked it, Neil. Thank you for joining us as well. Cody has boarded his flight, so I'm going to play us out here. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning in. Enjoy the Solheim Cup. It's going to be fantastic. We'll have live shows Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the conclusion of play. And we cannot wait to watch this event and bring it to you live as soon as it wraps every single day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Crack on.
Cheers.